What are the odds you get rushed by the same dog 3 times on 3 separate occasions? Well, apparently they're 100% because I have them all 3 on video. The first 2 times were absolute accidents that I wasn't aware they were there. The 3rd time, I kind of put myself in that situation so I could film the discussion or the arguments that came afterwards. Luckily, Lola is a super solid, happy-go-lucky Labrador, so I was okay with her getting rushed in that case because I knew it wasn't going to damage her. But if I had any other dog, my handling would be completely different. So let's have a look what happened. So Lola here is actually being trained on recall, and I'm using a long line and a collar, and she spots the dog right there in the back, but we're not in the park, we are on a public road. It's a very quiet road, but we do need to move every now and then for cars. And incoming, I'm shortening the lead. Look, it's not a bad interaction, but the fact that the dog ran straight at us and ran onto the road, owner has zero control. Right, they're calling, nothing is happening. I let it go on for a little bit, and now I'm about to get Lola back.
Baby, come on. Baby, come on.
Alright, for the second incident, I'm actually working with the owner, teaching her how to use the e-collar the first time. Again, we are far away. I see the dog coming. I tried to block the dog, but see how rude? She just freaking body slammed Lola. Lola's being held away. I tried to give the dog back to the owner. We tried to go on our way, and there he comes again. Second try, right? And again, right, so he knocks her over, it's body slams her again. It's not very, he means no harm, but he's extremely rude about it. Plus we're in the middle of a training session, and the owner is just, sorry, he's a puppy. Alright, the next one is incident 3, where I saw her, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna see what happens. I'm walking in the same place, the same park, we're about 80 meters away, and Bailey starts rushing again, but I had my camera ready now. I didn't have a helper, so it was really just me, and we're gonna listen to the whole thing first, and I'll caption it, and then I'm gonna break it apart and discuss why I think her arguments are invalid. Hey, don't try to eat my... Guess who's coming? Lola, come! And there, Lola! Lola, come! Come. Fuck's sake. This is the 3rd time though. The third.
Well, he's running around with other dogs in the park. And it's a puppy, and I'm sorry.
She's no. You're trying if she's on leash. Like I have it on camera 3 times.
I'm not training him right now. Though. He's literally running around the
Well,
park.
maybe you but maybe you should, because every time he sees us, he comes and pelts her.
Well, I don't know when you're going to be here. If you're going to be here at the same time every day, then I'll keep him on the leash. It's fine.
But that doesn't matter if I'm here. What if it's an aggressive dog?
When an aggressive dog will tell him off, and that's a good thing. Then he learns.
No, that's not the aggressive dog's job. You can't get angry at me for the fact that your dog isn't under control.
I apologize. You're the one who got angry at me. I apologize.
I'm not angry, but I am a little bit frustrated because this is the 3rd time.
Baby. Baby.
Your dog should not be off lead if you can't get it back. Look, this is a 7-month-old dog. How old is yours? It's older than 7 months, and I've got her on a leash. Yeah, but look, she can play on a long line. You can't. That's not an excuse. Well, I am. Now, this is literally my job.
Baby.
Lola, good you. Good job. Good girl, Lola. All right, let's dive into those arguments for a minute. So this lady's just unlucky that I'm the one that caught her 3 times. But obviously, if it happened to me 3 times in about 7 days, 8 days, then how often does it happen to other dogs? I also train other dogs at this park, and some of these dogs are reactive or they do have anxiety issues. And I can already guarantee you now, if this was to happen with this dog, well, it won't now because I know what to look out for, I would have kicked Bailey, or I would have used a doggy don't or a spray bottle to get him away from that dog. But again, because Lola is a friendly dog, I allowed it in this last video because I wanted to get the argument, because I knew it would escalate to this exact conversation, because believe me, this is not the first time I've had conversations like these. So she says he is just a puppy. Now that to me doesn't matter, because if anything, that means your puppy shouldn't be off a lead. A puppy isn't magically going to learn to recall when he hits like 18 months or 2 years or 3 years. Like, recall is a skill that you have to actively teach your dog, or they won't learn it. It's like saying to someone like, well, here's a bicycle and now you ride it. Well, most people need to be taught how to ride a bicycle. They don't just see one and they cycle away. If you've never ever been on one, you're going to fall over a few times. It would be nice to get some pointers. Now, some are inclined and they're just better at it, and there's absolutely dogs like that that take to recall like it's nothing. But clearly Bailey is not one of those dogs. So he is just a puppy. I don't give a shit, because I actually have a 7-month-old dog with me right now on a long line, and even an e-collar. If you like him or not is not the point, right? This dog should be on a long line. End of. That dog is also not a puppy. That's a full-grown golden retriever. I'm gonna guess it's probably between 12 and 18 months old, and we're using the puppy excuse still, whereas I think that's a cop-out. If I knew you were coming, I would have put him on a lead. Well, that's kind of confirming that she doesn't have a recall on her dog, right? But it's also, it's almost like gaslighting, right? Because this isn't a me problem, this is a her problem, because I am not the only one having issues with Bailey, which I will bet you $100 that there are other people that have walked in this park and have had the same issues with her and her dog. So should it then be, if I knew you were coming, should have put him on a lead? Shouldn't that just be, the moment I see you, I will put him on lead? And you should be a collective you. Whenever there's a dog that isn't actively playing in the park, like, again, we are not in the park. I am walking on a public road outside of the park. Her dog comes running from 80 meters away to come and say hi to my dog. That's not okay. What if there was a car just in? You know, there have been times that I've walked on the opposite end of the road and the dog fully crossed the street, which you could see in the first incident. Like, people tow boats on that road. People ride electric bikes really fast on that road. There are scooters, there is trucks for maintenance. Like, this is a very quiet road, but there are still regularly cars on it, because there is a bowling club right there. Like, people park their car when they go play tennis. Like, it is a public road that your dog is just crossing to run straight at me and whoever else walks by. Maybe you shouldn't see it as, oh, if I knew you were coming. You should just see, if I see a dog, I put him on lead. She also says, well, we are not training right now. And that's just such a misconception, right? Like, dog training isn't a vacuum. It isn't just, oh, we're doing training now from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. and the rest of the day I don't do any training. Dog training is literally about how do you live with your dog, and about enforcing rules and boundaries and structures day long. It's not just the 10 minutes before and after a walk, or making your dog wait for food. Like, it's clearly they're not training right now because the dog is running off as much as he wants. And maybe you should be training right now because this is clearly a situation your dog isn't able to make the right choices yet. So he needs you to tell him what to do. He doesn't know. It's not the dog's fault that this is happening. This is the owner's fault. And she shouldn't look at it as, oh, we're not training right now, this very second. Okay, well, if you're not training right now, then put your dog on a fucking lead. Well, he is playing with his friends right now. And that's true. There was a Labradoodle and another smaller dog playing with him. And we were about 80 meters away. Like almost a full football field, like a soccer field away. And you know what? I would have not have any issue if the dog was just playing with those dogs. But the problem is, he isn't just playing with those dogs. The moment he clocks a different dog, he runs over and wants to play with whoever else is there to play with him, even though we're not there for Bailey, right? So I'm not saying he can't play with his friends, but his friends know how to stay with their owner. But Bailey doesn't. So again, that's a non-argument. That doesn't count. And then she also says, when I say, maybe you should put your dog on a long line, she says, he should be allowed to play. And I don't disagree with that, because I think dogs should be allowed to play. But there should be structure and boundaries on that play. Off-leash time is a right to be earned. It's not given. It's not a free-for-all. Yes, he should be allowed to play, but a dog they can play on a long line. If you put a 9-meter long line on your dog and the other dog has recall so we don't get tangled, your dog can play and play his little heart out. Absolutely no problem. Or, here's another tip, drop your long line, 5 meters or 9 meters, and if Bailey starts bolting out of the park, you can jump on the long line. And that way you can really easily pull him back and avoid incidents like this. A leash doesn't mean your dog doesn't get to play, but maybe you need to focus a bit less on, can my dog play with every dog? And instead, will my dog listen to me when I call him? Because clearly, in this situation, the dog has zero value towards its owner because she keeps calling, and he as well keeps calling, and Bailey doesn't give a shit. Okay, so yes, your dog should be able to play, but maybe shift that focus a little bit. All right, so that was my first video on this. I am going to make another video where I basically go and outline what the impact is of this type of behavior on dogs that do this. Yeah, so dogs like Bailey, there's hundreds of them, thousands I would say. Like, what is actually the impact of your dog constantly running and bolting at other dogs, which I think needs to be discussed. And I do, at the second part of that video, I will look at what is the impact on the dog that is getting rushed by a dog like Bailey. And I'm going to look at friendly dogs like Lola and reactive dogs, right? Because this is the biggest pet peeve of most people. Like, this might not seem like a problem to you if you have a friendly dog, if you have a Bailey, but what happens is that people like me, I'm now going to avoid this park whenever I see her. I know she's going to be there at around the same time every time. And I know that now, so I'm not going to go there. But at the same time, that kind of confirms to her, whoever she sees in the park, oh, it's not a problem, right? Because anyone that comes to the park and is okay with his behavior clearly has a dog that has no issues, they don't mind getting rushed. But anyone who doesn't like it slowly disappears. So you get this kind of weird confirmation bias where she thinks like, oh, this is all good, when really it isn't. But because anyone that knows what is going on the regular well, they're just slowly disappearing from the park. So, major pet peeve of mine. Let me know in the comments if you have had any incidents like these and how did you handle them. Does situations like this make you nervous to walk your dog? Has this had a negative impact on your dog? Yeah, let me know how it is for you, and maybe also where you're from, like just the country, to see if this is a worldwide issue. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.